Yeah. Yeah, beanies on. Woo! Wolf Weekly. Ahipara new build. You dumb ass, David. Welcome to a brand new episode of Ahipara new build, where we freaking absolutely pump out this deck. Now, essentially, you guys have already seen us cut the tops of these piles, and that's the first task we need to do. What we need to freaking take into consideration is the thicknesses of our deck, our joists, and our bearers, right? And our datum point is pretty much off here, because we want level entry, so the decking boards sit flush with this. So we just pretty much add all those three together, and that's going to give us the height of our cut on our frickin' post, I guess you could say, our checkout. So I've gone through and I've done that. We're just going to go through, mark it all out. If you haven't already, go check out our previous episode where we explain how we figure all this crap out, but you can just watch us do it. My only issue here is I don't actually have any of the decking timber or joists on site, so I'm making an educated guess on what the thickness of those are going to be. Now, they're coming in wet. I like to usually use KD because then I know the thicknesses are real good. KD kiln dried. So I've made an allowance of 146 mils for our joists because it's wet as fuck, so I'm assuming 6 mil expansion. Normally they're 140, and then for the decking I'm allowing 35 mil instead of 32 because that's the trim size that comes in. So we've got about a 9 mil tolerance there, which is quite a bit, but hey, we can easily just pack the bearers up a little bit if we need to. With some DPC or something. This side, this isn't super important. Well, it is important, but yeah. Fucking stop rambling and get cutting!
Yeah, I'm thinking they work.
What, with the battery in your pocket?
Yeah.
Shut up, bro, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh. Fuck, little cashew downstairs, mate.
Oh, sorry.
Salted peanut. Okay, anyway, just to reiterate, because we've already explained this in a previous episode, we'll just do a quick one for the new subs. What we're pretty much doing, what we've pretty much done is we've checked the post out. No, pretty much the process is we need to get to our seat cut height. By doing that, we just do our frickin' subtract all our joist bearers and decking, and then we go through, mark that, then we mark up 190 and we cut the posts off at that height. That means our bearer sits flush with the top of the post. We then run a string line from end to end, and we actually swivel it. Stand back again. We actually end to end, and we swivel the string line to make sure that we've got centers and good bearing point on both sides of the post, just like that, for our seat cut. We then go through, fucking nail on a block like this, plumb, level it out, level around, cut it with the chainsaw, and then Bob's your uncle. We also put some scarf cuts where the timber sits, where the post is bigger than the 45 bit of timber. Then we go through and put a timber preservative on it, and now we're ready to put bearers in. But yeah, hope that made sense. Pretty easy. It's like my back's sore ash from cutting all that. Look at this. Anyway, we're gonna go through and put these bearers on now. Alrighty, tidy. So as we're running through, placing our bearers on, we've come to this point right here. The ding dong point. Come over here a little bit. So what my issue is we've obviously got our post. We weren't able to do our proper splice join and our C-cut. So I cut the post off flush to be able to get the bearer to flow through. But then we've got our cladding and stuff on the way, so this isn't even going to stay on if I'm doing it straight. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to bolt a bearer on this side, running along to that post. So I'll check out the post this way and bolt a bearer on this way to support the bearer, if that makes sense. And that way I have freedom to go backwards and forwards, and we've got good bearing point for our bearer underneath here. Also, one last thing, look at this. That's just straight H1.2 timbers. Unfortunately I can't actually wrap this in because of the post in the way. This post is the death of me. Well, it's not, but what I need to do is I need to put some Safite board underneath here to protect that from the weather. But yeah, little bits and pieces like that, just all slowly add up. What was that? It all slowly adds up, eh? Yeah, hard. Nice one, mate. You'll be alright?
Yeah, but just goes in like that.
Did it fit?
And then stays in place.
Is it perfect? Bro, don't at me, bro.
Hey! Without consent.
It's about consent. None of that needed around here, bro.
Stop it!
Okay, so you can see now the Safite is definitely in. We've got our bearer that's supporting this bearer over here, and now we've got the flexibility to actually move this backwards and forwards where I like. Make sure I get it in line, and I'll just put a couple of big stainless steel bolts straight through here, even though we've got it on a C-cut. And now we just give us a bit more flexibility on what we can do through this. Right, so what I'm trying to achieve here is the outside of my deck line so I can cut my bearers off. And what I've done is I've run a string line from that end of the building all the way along. Then I sort of just played around with it, going backwards and forwards, trying to get it to touch this corner right here. I then put a mark on our profile and tied it off. And then the way I can double check that, I've got string line in the right position is this is where our old mark was, right? So this is our building line. Now we're going to have 20 mil of cavity and then 20 mil of cladding, and then I just measured that and it's 40 mil, so frickin' bang on the money. Alright, so all I need to do now is plumb down my thing here on the string line. That way I know I got the outside of my building. My deck, sorry. How good is that? Alright, we're back on site this morning. All our bearers have been bolted in with stainless steel M12s with 50mm square washers. Fabiano's gone through and done all that. He's freaking smashed it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to check the heights of my bearers. I mean, I've already done that. And I've just set the laser up. I'm going to go through and check these. Pretty good on each point of my posts. Now, we had these pretty smacko, to be honest. There's a few spots where we had to plane off. I'm not too sure what happened, whether the thickness of the board was bigger, but we've got it in within a mil along all our bearer heights. So that brings me to the next point, which is the joists. So our joists sitting on top of the bearers, running horizontally to the bearer. Now our joists are spanning, well, we've actually, how do I explain this? On the plans it shows the joist spacings at 450mm centres all the way along here. Now the decking that we're using is a 32mm thick decking, so that's actually going to be able to span 600mm centres on our joist, but I'm just going to stick with the plan and go 450s. The reason being is we've actually got this cantilever point that sort of runs over the top of this and cantilevers out. Now I'm not sure if I really like that or not, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this frame, I'm going to build this section with a stringer along the back. Now I'm not going to attach the stringer to the building just yet. I'm going to get all the joists in with that stringer and see what the strength is like with the flexibility of the overhang here. And then once I've sort of done that, if I need to, I'll just slip a packer up behind with the plastic EDM washer on and bolt through, because we've actually got fixings all through there, as you seen on previous episodes. So we're going to go through, we're going to cut all our joists. We've actually marked out where they go so we know the number of joists in each section. We've obviously got 2 different lengths, so we'll go through and cut those and then we'll come back and install them. Okay, do you want to bring that 5/4 over? Then I've got a mark down the side there on the joist, on the top. Sakabakagajibuli! Yep, 3, 2, 1. A little bit more. One more. Yep.
Oh, no, never mind.
So, what I've done is I've got my joist set on our spacings that we need at our 450s. I've then measured the distance between our joist and the edge of our board and replicated that over here. So now I know when I position this board onto the mark that it's going to be beautiful!
Yeah, but... Hey! My.
Happy to shoot the rest of my joist in from this side. Just wanted to get it in there, and that way if we really do need to fix through into the building, we can. So go through, set our joists out, run our string line from end to end, get the nice and straight, pin them all in. Sunday mahi finish.
I'll relax for the beatiful, Ross.
Aye, that's right. Bigfoot in the house. You need to cut that out, Fabian. Okay, we've laid all our joists out, right? Woohoo! Look at that, that looks like we've done heaps of work. Real quick. Woo-hoo! West side. But now I've fixed my joist in place at this end and that end. I've run a string line and I'm using a block to pack out the string line. So that gives me a chance to move this joist in and out without interfering with the string line over a long distance. So Fabiano keeps fucking around. We'll get him down there. And pretty much just going to go through, move it in and out and put it in place. And I'll put them in, Using a stainless steel gun now to hold everything in place. Okay, so we're coming to this back corner over here. Now we've done all our joists, we've done all our nogs. A few things that I need to break down here. So I need support for my joist on the outside over here. Now obviously due to the fact that our pile is underneath this wall here, I've actually had to go through and put another bearer in here. So sort of about 25mm off the cladding line, right? Now what I've done is I've run this all the way through and I've nailed it onto all the joists. Now that's going to actually be plenty enough to support the single joist on the outside here. What I'm going to do also is I'm going to put a bit of a mechanical fixing right at the very end there. I'll probably put a cyclone tie between the joist and the bearer. That way I know that's going to be held there forever. Because I'd be inclined that even though it's being supported here, that bearer is actually wanting to drop down like that. So we want to make sure that that point is fixed off. Now second thing is I want to make sure that when my joist goes in, I need to make sure that my joist is actually inset about 45mm. The reason I want that inset 45mm is we have a piece of decking that's going to wrap around the front face of our boundary joist through here that's going to tidy it up right really nicely. But we also have a border board. We're also going to have a picture frame on the top, which what I mean by that is the picture frame is going to run along this edge and then the boards are going to butt into it and then we'll put a miter through here and then we'll go around like that. That just gives a nice clean finish on the top edges. Now our border board is actually going to hang past our edging board by about, I do like about 10mm. So that means if we've got 32mm of decking and then a 10mm overhang, we want to sort of have this joist back 42mm, and that way we can have the top of the deck finishing flush with our cladding line and it's going to look real good. So I've left all these long our bearers just so I can get a better understanding and then I can trim it off perfectly. But yeah, we'll go through and do that now. Yeah, we've got one here, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need 2 more. So now that we've got that sorted, we've got our boundary joist on. We now need to think about our decking and where it's going to finish on here. So we've obviously got our band board that goes along the sides, and then the one on the top, like this, 10mm. So we need to think about our decking boards that actually run this way. And the way we do that is we just pretty much set it up like that, figure out our distance. Figure out the distance from there to there. Pretty happy with that. What do we got? 50, 55?
55.
So 55. It's going to be the center. And then, yeah, if I put this 30mm block of decking in, it's going to be 22mm. Ha ha ha! It's almost like we've already done that. Shut up, Fabian. Alright, sorry guys, my freaking camera was turned off. Fabiano didn't tell me it was running. I had my head cam going for like 20 minutes. What an idiot. Anyway, before I carry on to the next stage, I just want to show you guys how we're doing our picture frame board. So what we've done is we set a parallel line up from end to end and chalk the line, so this is a nice straight board. Okay, and now once we've done that, we want to sort of mark out the centers of our joists for our screw line, right? So the way I do that is pretty much I've got a 22mm mark, I don't know if you can see that, from the edge of my square, so I just line that up with the edge of the joist. The joist is 45, and then I use the compass and just mark it like that. Come through all the way along. Now, you can see this detail sort of coming to fruition now. Our picture frame sort of wraps around, right? And we've actually got a fixing point for this board, like that. So that fixing point there, we've got a nice picture frame that sort of creates the border of the deck, and then of course nice and flush there with our 10mm lip. Perfect. So now that I've sort of done that border board, what I'm doing is I need to start. What we do is we like to do our deck in sections, right? Now that we sort of got our picture frame all set up, around the outside of our deck, look, we've got it nice. So this is pretty much going to be our starting point right here. We're going to lay all our decking boards from this point and work our way backwards. Now, I like to do them in sections, right? So I like to get another chalk line, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 boards off along here, and we'll put a chalk line, and then we'll do the same thing as we did with our picture frame one. We'll straighten it and we'll install it along here, and then we'll infill back. Now I just did a quick test just to make sure that we've got enough space for all our boards, so I set them all out. They're nice and wet, so we sort of want to go somewhat tight because they'll dry out and leave gaps. But yeah, I just made sure that the boards were going to fit in between my gap that I calculated, and now boom, can do that. Do you want to suck a fucker guzzy pussy? Stuff you, Fabian. We're going to frickin' work in silence from now on. You're not allowed to talk to me. Wait, you think this is funny? This is a joke. That's it, I'm going to the pub. No one can stop me. I'm going to go gamble my life savings away. My recording. Right, you're so sad to me. Right, so we're just coming through and we're just tacking on our boards through here, and Fabian had an interesting question. He's like, did the client want the boards to be tight? So you can see that we've got all our boards really tight. There's not really any gaps through here. And I just explained to him that different decking timbers expand and contract in different ways. Now this pine, it's 32mm thick by 140mm wide. It's been stacked in a pack that's been outside for months on end, right? There's no way for it to dry out. So we need to make tolerances and allowances for the decking board to expand and contract when we're laying it, because if you lay it too tight, the boards are going to start cupping and bowing, and there's going to be big ponds and stuff on top of your deck. But in a situation like this, where I know this is the wettest the decking timber is ever going to get, I like to make sure that the joints are as tight as possible, because in the next coming weeks there's airflow, there's sun that are going to dry these boards out, and it's going to allow the board to have a reasonable gap through here. If we were to put, like, I know that this board's going to shrink probably 5 to 7mm, and it's going to expand another, it will expand. There's different expansions and stuff like that, but yeah, pretty much I know that this board isn't going to get any bigger than it is, so I'm going to lay it tight, and then over time the board's going to shrink, and it's going to leave probably a 5 to 7mm gap over time, even bigger sometimes. So a 5 to 7mm gap on the deck is actually quite large. We want to have like a 2 to 3mm one, so just got to make sure that we're thinking about these tolerances when we're laying decking. Now in regards to a hardwood deck, I mean that can grow and shrink anywhere between, I don't know, 2 to 5mm, but majority of the time we always just wedge and gap that out. So just when we're laying, we're just trying to make sure that we're making the deck as perfect as possible with what we've got. But yeah, we've just had a power cut, unfortunately. It's going to be out for a few hours, so we're going to shuffle our aim at actually bolting the stringer onto the cladding. Now previously I mentioned that I just wanted to make sure that the strength of this joist was going to be adequate enough to come through, and unfortunately it's not. There's a bit of flex in it. So luckily in a previous episode we actually attached an extra bit of cavity batten that sits behind the cladding, so we can actually bolt all the way through and clamp everything together to make this nice and tight. Now the way I'm doing it is got Fabiano to rip up some nice sort of big packers, right? Now these packers are going to fit in between the cladding and the joist, the boundary, and what we're going to do is I've tacked it in place here, and I'm also going to quickly just mark exactly where this goes, so I know, and I'm going to write. So now I know exactly where this pack is going to go. I made it flush at the bottom and I put a little screw in. Can you see that? And I'm just going to put one on here for now, so I know. Now I know exactly where my batten is. I want to be going through solid stuff all the way through. So once I do that, I'm going to just go through and drill this. Okay, that drill bit's not long enough. Pause! Oh, just! Whoop. That's how you know when into the insulation. That's going to be so much fun for us, because we're going to know exactly where the bolt hole is.
So, who's going under the house?
Okay, so now that we've sort of got that, the reason I can't put the bolt straight through that is we need a black, what we call an EPDM washer, right? Now this washer is going to sit between our packer and the cladding, and that's going to make a tight seal once we bolt it together, and that means there's no water that's ever going to be able to protrude through down and into that. Now if there is water that ever gets into it, it's actually below the floor line, which there won't be, but it's not a huge issue. But they won't be, because that's the correct way of doing it. But yeah, we're just going to go through and stick all those in, and then we're just going to use a stainless steel engineer bolt. It's going to go right the way through our stringer here, through the cladding, through the cavity, through the boundary joist on the inside, and it's going to bolt together to make a nice tight fit, and then that way we're not going to have any flexibility in this. Right, so the way we're doing it, right, is we've got the packer here, we've got our EPDM washer. I know what side Fabian's cut. I've got a little arrow here, and where exactly my packer needs to go. Now, it is a little tight. They want to be, you know, have a little bit of resistance, so sometimes I just make sure that my block's on my nail line, and I'll just give it a bit of a heave. Try and, oops, line that up. Didn't quite line it up properly, so I don't really want to be trying to knock this out of place too much, but looks pretty good there. Then I just get my bolt, and if it's a little bit out, but it should just go straight through like that. Now Fabian's in there, right? I just put my ruler, because it's so hard to see, the bolt actually goes into the insulation, so I just put my ruler where the bolt's going to go. He's cutting a little bit of insulation out, and I'm actually tightening it from the outside because he isn't going to be able to get the socket in there. So, okay, you good? Yeah, man. Do you want me to tighten? Yeah, man. Do you want to suck over a gutsy pussy? Yeah, man. How are those ants treating you? Actual? No. But do you like getting tickled by the ant? No, I like getting tickled by you. What? Ugly. Now I'm not tightening it up too much, I'm just using my own knowledge to, like that, perfect. Okay, next. Okay, so now we've sort of finished laying our decking timbers, we've got to come through and build the stairs to get onto the deck. Now I've just got a bit of conflicting evidence on my plan here. On the plan it sort of shows the deck, the stairs, sorry, being about, I don't know, 900 wide. You can see that. Unfortunately, the clients want the decking, the stairs to be the full width of the deck, which sort of makes sense. Nice big stairs opening up into here, so we sort of have to change tack a bit and design the stairs a little bit differently to what's on the plans. So this system, I've built a big platform, right? And I'm going to use this as like the platform to build the rest of my stairs on. I'm going to build platform after platform coming up on top of there. So pretty much I'm still going to do the same detail as this shown here, because we need a handrail coming up the side. So I've got my stainless steel bracket in this inset here, and that's going to support this side, where the rest of them I've got piles that I've cut and checked out that sit underneath our framing timbers. I've also cut a 10-degree angle on the top of this, just so if any water does get in, gets away. Another thing to take into consideration is the angle of the angle, or the gradient of the land. Now I know I can just tell by the way my platform's set up that the soil, well, the dirt, the lay of the land is actually flowing that way. So any water that comes in underneath the stairs will actually run out, which is something important to do. Now that I've sort of done that, I'm going to concrete these posts in, and then I can start building my platforms on top of that. As I'm building these stairs up off my bottom platform, got some rippings here, right? These rippings are going to help me adjust each platform to the correct step height, and I'm pretty much just screwing these on and then setting the platform on top and then fixing it in place. All this is not temporary, but there'll be more fixings to be put in once the stairs have been built. Now the whole reason for that ripping is I'm wanting to try and create a set of stairs that look floating, right? So what I mean by that is, so what I mean by that is pretty much when my stair comes in like this, then just say I've got a ripping border board here, goes like that. What's going to happen, it's going to give the illusion that this step is floating. And you know, it is the front entry we come through. This is like the most used spot, wow, you know, as you're entering the property. So we just want to try and make things look nice, and I think that's going to look pretty good. I've never built a set of these before, so I'm just sort of making it up as I go, but I thought, why not? Yeah, so you'll actually notice I actually ripped the front face of this 6x2 board off and raised it up just so I can get that negative detail that I want. Alright, so the time has come to install our handrail posts. Now, this is what this Bomac bracket was doing down here. I'm now able to attach my post through the bracket and then through my framing timber over here and bolt it together, and that's going to give this post a nice stable fixing point. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. I don't need to have that bracket down there because if you have a look through here, I've bolted my platform down here all the way through that post. So now I've got good bearing points everywhere. I'm now able to just pretty much stick this in place, and then I'll just bolt it through here and down the bottom, and that's going to give it nice structural support. And then we can start framing out and frickin' putting some decking on. That's it. Another episode, how to build a deck. Lots of tips and tricks, you know. Key points. Don't fuck around with the stairs too long. No, we had super bad weather, so far out, but on and off. Bit all over the show, but yeah. Make sure you keep your screw lines straight. Your board's nice and tight if the timber's wet. And just make sure that they're straight as well. Like, you can look down that line. All our boards are nice and straight and tight. You can see the water's not sitting on top of the deck even though it's been raining, so it's still draining pretty well. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned for the next freaking series, I guess.
Yeah, fucking oath.
Fuck, that's pretty much it. There'll be one more episode, I would say, but anyway, fuck out of here.
New shoes on a Friday morning. New look shit, still can't hide my born. I got a pocket full of change-ups. I switch hit, I'm a strange fuck. Consist on ain't something I could say well. Build my change into the wishing for a change well. Wish a day a swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one. Switch my living situation every chance that I be getting. Sick of running laps on Sisyphus's treadmill. Man, I really need to sit still. Seems like that ain't something I could instill.
Ebb and flow, I can't hold on to you very much longer.
Yeah.
Might have to slip away.
Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still for a little? Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still? Teacher told me need to get that pencil up out of my nose. Can't hold on a singular pose. Switch from to to fro when the wind gon' blow. And it's hurricane season everywhere that I roam. I like quick fixes and not working at all. Don't switch lanes, drive my car straight off of the road. I got split personalities inside of my soul. Each day I find a new one to hold.
Ebb and flow, I can't hold on to you very much longer. Might have to slip away.
Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still for a little? still for a little bit? Can't you sit still for a little? Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still for a little? Can't you sit still for a little bit? Can't you sit still?